Hi guys, today I'm going to give you my guide on how to pick the right university to study your counselling degree or master's or PhD if you're doing a PhD. Because sometimes people ask me like, what do you think of this uni? Should I go to this uni? What do you recommend? And to be quite honest, this checklist will hopefully help you pick the right university because there is no one perfect university for everybody. It's not a one size fits all. So hopefully with this guide, you can find the right university for you. The first thing that I always harp on about on this channel is make sure it's accredited. Unless you don't mind doing the accreditation test afterwards, then that's fine, but ensure your course is accredited. It just saves you a lot of time and hassle when you graduate. I do have a video on what to do if your course is not accredited. In case you've already started or you've already been accepted onto a course that is not accredited, there's a way around it, and that video will be linked in the description box. So if your course is accredited by the BACP, you can then be registered with the BACP when you graduate. However, if your course is accredited with the UKCP, then you have to be registered with the UKCP when you graduate. And to save you time on how to find accredited courses, you can go on each website, the BACP website or the UKPC website, to find the courses that are accredited by them. That makes it a lot easier. Number 2, check what they teach. Each university will usually have a summary of like what happens in first year, second year or third year, or at least some of the modules that they'll be teaching and what you can expect in terms of the hours and the dedication, sometimes even the teaching days and so on and so forth, and even how you'll be assessed and what kind of things you'll be expected to do in your assessments. So in terms of counselling, you may have a specific approach or theory that you really like. Maybe you're really drawn to humanistic or psychodynamic perspective or theory. So you're going to want to look for a university that teaches those things. Some universities will do the 3 main ones, CBT, humanistic and psychodynamic, and sometimes these will be referred to as integrative courses. But just because it says integrative doesn't mean it's specifically those 3 courses. It might be an integration of 3 other different perspectives or theories. So be sure to check out what consists of the integrative theories that they are teaching. Maybe you just want to learn about humanistic, or maybe you just want to learn about CBT, or maybe you just want to do psychodynamic. So just check and ensure that they're teaching what it is that you're interested in. And if you're not sure, maybe you can just do integrative so that you can learn all 3 and then you can pick which one you like the most out of the 3. So that's another way to narrow down the list of universities that you can go to, because the university I chose was specifically because they were doing an integrative course and that's what I was interested in learning. Number 3, think about location. Do you want to stay home? Do you want to move away from home? And if you do move away from home, do you want to be really far from home or somewhere that's like an hour away or 45 minutes away? Or even international? How far are you willing to go? Consider that your placement will have to be probably quite local, and if you're going to stay home, if you live maybe somewhere out in the country, is there going to be placements available for you to go to, or are you going to have to travel really far to find a placement? If you're moving to a university somewhere, is there lots of placements around? What's the environment like? Think about those things. Also, can you afford to move away? Is it going to be extra burden? Because as we know, this training is already expensive enough as it is. So if you move away from home, can you afford to pay for bills and rent and other expenses on top of the course expenses that you'll be paying on top of your tuition fee? However, if you stay at home, is it going to be the best and most conducive environment for you to be able to succeed in your training? Especially if you're living in an environment where it's very chaotic, very loud, or very busy, where you don't get a moment's peace, or it's very toxic. Is that going to be the best environment for you to stay in order to achieve your qualification? What happens if you're not accepted for the location that you do want? Do you have a second option or a third option? So there's a lot of things to consider in regards to location and whether you stay or move away, because there's pros and cons of both. So that's something that you might want to even write a list of all the pros and cons for each of the places that you're considering to go. Number 4, if you really can, please go to open days or open evenings. Every single university has one of these. So this allows you to not only see the university, but to have a talk and to, maybe see other people who might be joining the course. You might even make friends there. You also get to hear a bit more about the course, see where you're going to be studying, see the library, the university's facilities, and maybe even what they offer in terms of extracurricular activities. And in general, do you feel the energy and the vibe of the city? Because I kid you not, every time that I've gone to a sixth form, university, college, whatever, I've gone to open days and open evenings, and the places that I, on paper, really wanted to go to, that were my first choice on paper when I got there, I absolutely hated them. and the places I ended up going to were the places that were not even on my list to begin with. But the moment I stepped into the city, or I stepped into that place, I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Same thing happened with my sixth form. Same thing happened with my university. Same thing happened with this place that I'm at right now. And it's just really important, I think, to go to the city, especially if you're moving away. Go to the city, because this could be your next home for like the next few years. So it's important to know and to see whether you're going to like it. I would not recommend blindly moving. Of course, being an international student is slightly different, but if you're within the UK, try and make time to go and see the place that you're potentially going to be living and studying for the next few years, because it would be a waste of time and a big regret to go there and instantly dislike it and know that you're going to have to live there for the next few years. Next up, the next thing to consider is the tuition fees. When I was looking at where to study for my master's, I made a list, and one of the things I listed was the price of each university. And when I was researching in general and looking for a place to study, the courses were ranging from 5k to 12k per year. And that's only because I think some of the universities were private universities, so they were more on the expensive side, but majority was somewhere between the 5 to 7k mark per year. So keep that in mind. What can you afford? Like I said, student finance does not cover the master's courses, and I've done many videos on tuition. I've done story times explaining my financial difficulties during my training so you can understand Student Finance England a bit more and how much they give. Videos will be linked in the description box below. But the point is, think about how much the tuition is going to be, what you can afford, because most likely you will have to top it up and you will have to add to it. So whether that's going to be because you save up, or because you take out a loan, or you do a part-time job, it's something you're going to have to really consider in terms of pricing and tuition fees. The next thing that you're going to want to consider is, do you want to go to university that's campus-based or not? To some people, this is not so important. To me, it's quite important. I've always enjoyed universities that are campus-based, and some universities are the opposite, where the same university will be dotted out, will have different buildings across the city and will be spread out across the city. So that way, it's not like all the buildings are in one place and in one campus. I personally prefer campus universities. So if that's important to you, you can also consider that. If it's not important to you, then you can completely scrap that and ignore that. But most cities will usually have at least one campus-based university and one university that's spread out across the city. Number 7, if it's important to you, also consider if the university that you want to go to is a Russell Group university. Russell Group universities are 24 of the UK's leading universities, and they're members of a world-class research-intensive universities. So if this is important to you, then look at the Russell Group universities and go through the list, make sure they're accredited, check the tuition fees, etc., etc. But in all honesty, I really don't think most employers will really care whether you're from a Russell Group university or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying that they don't care. I just think that experience matters a lot more these days in general. So I don't really know how much coming from a Russell Group university will sway your employability or your likability. So that's just something to consider, maybe, if it's important to you. So I hope that this list will help you be able to find the perfect university for yourself, because in all honesty, like I said, I can't find the perfect university for you. I can't decide if your university is the perfect one for you. Use this checklist as a guide, and if there's any other things that you feel like are really helpful to consider when looking for a university, put them in the comment section below. And remember, guys, if you'd like to book me for a one-to-one consultation, you can do so. The link is in the description box below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.